Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and today we are back with more Greek mythology. Today we are getting into one of the longer stories, so this will probably be divided into several sections. We will be looking at the quest for the Golden Fleece. This is a story that even has movies based upon it. But yeah, let's get into this. This is the title of a long poem, very popular in classical days, by the 3rd century poet Apollonius of Rhodes. He tells the whole story of the quest except the part about Jason and Peleus, which I have taken from Pindar. It is the subject of one of his most famous tales, written in the first half of the 5th century. Apollonius ends his poem with the return of the heroes to Greece. I have added the account of what Jason and Medea did there, taking it from the 5th century tragic poet Euripides, who made it the subject of one of his best plays. These three writers are very unlike each other. No one participant can give any idea of Pindar except perhaps something of his singular power for vivid and minutely detailed description. Readers of the Aeneid will be reminded of Virgil by Apollonius. The difference between Euripides' Medea and Apollonius's heroine, and also Virgil's Dido, is in its degree of measure of what Greek tragedy was. The first hero in Europe who undertook a great journey was the leader of the quest of the Golden Fleece. He was supposed to have lived a generation earlier than the most famous Greek traveler, the hero of the Odyssey. It was, of course, a journey by water. Rivers, lakes, and seas were the only highways. There were no roads. All the same, a voyager had to face perils not only on the deep, but on the land as well. Ships did not sail by night, and any place whose sailors put in might harbor a monster or a magician who could work more deadly harm than storm and shipwreck. High courage was necessary to travel, especially outside of Greece. No story proved this fact better than the account of what the hero suffered who sailed in the ship Argo to find the Golden Fleece. It may be doubted, indeed, if there ever was a voyage on which sailors had to face so many and such varied dangers. However, they were all heroes of renown, some of whom the greatest in Greece, and they were quite equal to their own adventures. The tale of the Golden Fleece begins with a Greek king named Athamas, who got tired of his wife put her away and married another, the Princess Ino. Nephele, the first wife, was afraid for her two children, especially the boy Phrixus. She thought the second wife would try to kill him so that her own son could inherit the kingdom, and she was right. The second wife came from a great family. Her father was Cadmus, the excellent king of Thebes. Her mother and her three sisters were women of blameless lives. But she herself, Ino, determined to bring about the little boy's death and made an elaborate plan how this was to be done. Somehow she got possession of all the seed cairn and patched it before the men went out for the sowing, so that, of course, there was no harvest at all. When the king went to send a man to ask the oracle what he could do in this fearful distress, she persuaded, or more probably bribed, the messenger to say that the oracle had declared the corn would not grow again until they offered up a young prince as a sacrifice. The people, threatened with starvation, forced the king to yield and permit the boy's death. To the later Greeks, the idea of such a sacrifice was as horrible as it is to us, and when it played a part in the story, they almost always changed it into something less shocking as the tale had come down to us. When the boy had been taken to the altar, a wondrous ram with a fleece of pure gold snatched him and his sister up and bore them away through the air. Hermes had sent him in answer to their mother's prayer. While they were crossing the street which separates Europe and Asia, the girl, whose name was Helle, slipped and fell into the water. She was drowned, and the strait was named for her the Sea of Helle, the Hellespont. The boy came safely to land to the country of Colchis and the unfriendly sea, the Black Sea, which had not yet become friendly. The Colchians were a fierce people. Nevertheless, they were kind to Phrixus, and their king, Aedes, let him marry one of his daughters. It seems odd that Phrixus sacrificed to Zeus the ram that had saved him in gratitude for having been saved. But he did so, and he gave the precious Golden Fleece to King Aedes. Phrixus had an uncle who was by rights a king in Greece, but he had his kingdom taken away from him by his nephew, a man named Peleus. The king's young son, Jason, the rightful heir to the kingdom, had been sent secretly away to a place of safety. And when he was grown, he came boldly back to claim the kingdom from his wicked cousin. The usurper Peleus had been told by the oracle that he would die at the hands of kinsmen, and that he should beware of anyone whom he saw shod with only a single sandal. In due time, such a man came to the town. One foot was bare, although in all other ways he was well clad. A garment fitting close to the splendid limbs, and around his shoulders a leopard skin to turn the showers. He had not shorn the bright locks of his hair. They ran rippling down his back. He went straight into the town and entered the marketplace fearlessly at the time when the multitude filled it. None knew him, but one and another wondered at him and said, "Can he be Apollo or Aphrodite's Lord?" Not one of Poseidon's bold sons, for they are dead. So they questioned each other, but Peleus came in hot haste to the tidings, and when he saw the single sandal, he was afraid. He hid in terror in his heart, however, and addressed the stranger. "What country is your fatherland?" "No hate for defiling lies, I beg you. Tell me the truth." With gentle words, the other answered, "I have come to my home to recover the ancient honor of my house. This land no longer ruled aright, which Zeus gave to my father. I am your cousin, and they call me by the name of Jason. You and I must rule ourselves by the law of right, not appeal to heaven, or not appeal to brazen swords or spears. Keep all the wealth you have taken, the flocks and the tawny herds of cattle and the fields. But the sovereign scepter and the throne release to me, so that no evil quarrel will arise from them." We'll go ahead and end this piece right here. Yeah. So, we are introduced to Jason and his cousin. I think they said his name was Peleus. Yeah. If you haven't figured this out yet, it's the quest for the Golden Fleece, or also, it's also known as Jason and the Argonauts. So yeah, like I said, there's even movies made of this. It's a classic Greek tale, and one we will be getting into further. But yeah, we've already had mentions of Hermes and Zeus. We've had kingdoms taken from their rightful rulers. Children threatened. Yeah. So, we have set the stage for the quest itself to gain the Golden Fleece, because Prixus was spirited away by the golden ram. And yeah, next episode we should start up the adventure itself. But that'll be it for this episode. I just wanted to kind of make this one a quick one. Thank you all for watching. As always, educate thyself. Think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.